in as well. Students, teachers, we are filling in front to back. We are filling in front to back. If everyone could find their seats, please. Students, let's find your seats, please. We're filling in front to back. We need to get started. Okay, everyone, we have until the count of 10 to find our seats, and I'm going to count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. By the time I get to 1, everyone should be in a seat. 3, 2, 1. If I have adults in the back of the room, would you please close the doors? Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. Good. That sounds much, much better. We have a very special treat for you all today. You get to speak to and hear from a real live astronaut. His name is on the board, Mr. Tony Antonelli. Please know that this is a Mitchell assembly, and we expect for you guys to be on your best behavior to show respect to our speaker who's taking time out of his day to spend some time with us. So we expect for our accept core values to be in operation during this session. If we come and tap you on the shoulder, you know exactly what that means. I don't think I have to tell you. just get up and follow the person who tapped you on the shoulder. Okay? But I don't think we're going to have any of that today. So without further ado, we will have our friend from the Space Foundation come and introduce our astronaut.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm here from Space Foundation, and we are so excited to be at Mitchell High School kicking off our Space in the Community for the week. You are our first school we're seeing for the week. We'll be at 8 other schools around the district, and on Wednesday, we're going to have a community night at our museum. So at the Discovery Center, if you come on down, that's a free event that you can bring your entire family to. But let's get to what we're most excited for today. I'd like to introduce you to Anthony Tony Antonelli, a retired captain from the U.S. Navy. Mr. Antonelli joined NASA in 2000 as a pilot astronaut candidate. A veteran of 2 space flights, Antonelli logged 24 days, 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 35 seconds in space. Antonelli served in various technical assignments in support of the astronaut office, including leadership roles for the Space Launch System, Commercial Crew, Capsule Communicator, Capcom, and Space Shuttle Propulsion. On March 15, 2009, Antonelli launched on STS-119 aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery as the pilot. The crew delivered and assembled the 6th starboard integrated truss segment and the 4th set of solar arrays and batteries for the International Space Station. On May 14, 2010, Antonelli launched on STS-132 aboard the Space Shuttle Atlantis as the pilot. The mission delivered an integrated cargo carrier and a Russian-built mini research module to the station. Antonelli retired from NASA on July 2015 and worked for 6 years at Lockheed Martin in various executive roles. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Anthony Tony Antonelli.
Thank you. Wow, what a great welcome. I was led to believe that it's early Monday morning and y'all had just had a week off, so I was expecting crickets, but that was awesome. I'm really excited to be here. One thing about me before I get started, I'm a pretty nervous public speaker. I actually scare easy, but public speaking's high on the list. The way I deal with my nerves is humor, and I appreciate that. Like humor's not everybody thinks the same things are funny. So if I say something that is offensive, I apologize in advance, but I ask for a pass. It's just me dealing with my nerves. I got a few things to say, and we got just about an hour together. I'm most interested in chatting with y'all, hearing your questions and answering them. I'll spend a couple minutes talking, and then I'm really hopeful that y'all will be brave enough to ask me a question. I realize the room's kind of big, so it might be a little bit intimidating to raise your hand and ask a question in front of everybody. But a couple of my things, maybe I'll try to get through 3 if I can remember 3. The first one is thanks to the Space Foundation and the team there that put on Space in the Community Week here in Colorado Springs this week, and their efforts allowed me the opportunity to come to Colorado Springs. I live in Houston, Texas, and I just got here last night after dark, but I already saw this morning y'all's mountains are a little more fantastic than our mountains in Houston. So thanks to the Space Foundation for bringing me here. Second thing I wanted to mention was, and I'm going to try to close with this, but I put it up here at the beginning in case I forget. I wanted to talk about my heroes. And I don't know how much time you spend thinking about who you consider heroes and who you don't. And I've admired people throughout my years, and had occasion to meet some of them, and went, I thought they'd be better. But the group of folks that are my heroes, that have been my heroes, and only continue to go up in that status. and have never faltered is teachers. I don't know, maybe through time you'll grow the same appreciation that I've grown, right? They could do any number of different things with their time and energy, and they spend their time and energy and oftentimes their resources to try to help get you off on the right start. And so if I forget to close with that, if I were to get only one ask, it would be, hey, sometime today and sometime this week, make sure to thank your teachers for spending time trying to educate you. All right, so I am old. You guys probably could look at me and tell that. Yeah, it's relative, right? Let me try this. Not counting the teachers, and I'm not looking at any of you. I was born when the year began with a 1. Like, I realize today it begins with a 2, but like 1,000 years ago, it began with a 1. And not only was I born then, like, I remember those times when okay, I got one that was on board. Yeah. I think I lost this was a tough picture to see, but did I just bump the computer? Oh, there it goes. I told y'all I was nervous. I could have easily messed that up. Hey, who wants to fly in space? Good. All right, put those hands down. So far we haven't made anybody. So if you want to fly, you got to raise your hand and volunteer. Who doesn't want to fly in space? Good. Okay. It's a bigger mix. Check out this picture. Can y'all see this? Do you know what this is? Here's my take. You are flying in space right now. And we're all together on Spaceship Earth as crewmates on this journey. And I know, I guess full disclosure right up front, right? I'm a horrible person. I've just learned to pretend to be nice. But and none of y'all chose me to be on this space mission with you. But we're all together on this space mission. And I want, the reason I mentioned I was old is because I feel obligated to share advice. So I'm gonna sprinkle in a little bit of the advice I have. If I were to stop right now and take questions, who has a question? Okay, good. All right, put those hands down, and I'll get to you shortly. I just wanted to make sure that if I stopped too soon, we wouldn't all be staring at each other with nothing to say. So advice. Think of something you believe. Think of a belief. And then I'm going to try to run through 3 categories that might not cover every possible belief, but might cover many, right? So the first one is objectively verifiable, right? Where you could believe something, and then you could go run an experiment or collect data from any number of different ways and support that belief. So that's one. Anybody not heard of the acronym STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and math? You have? Good. I am not trying to convince the world that we should all be scientists and engineers. I wouldn't want to live in a world with only scientists and engineers. But I do believe some scientific understanding, foundational understanding for the entire crew of our spaceship is important. However, nothing's perfect. So verifiable truths or beliefs. Another one is personal beliefs, just things you've come on your own to decide to believe. Guess who the easiest person to fool is? By far, it's yourself. right? It's easier to fool yourself than anybody else. But you still have personal things you believe in. And the third one, and I know I won't go, I'll just touch this one and then we'll move on, because I was raised in polite company. Don't talk about religion and politics. But the third one, and in this group I probably shouldn't talk about social media, but in this idea that your personal beliefs, you've decided on your own to believe something. And this third category is other folks are trying to convince you to believe something. And whether or not they've done the due diligence to make sure their belief is objective, right, that they've got data to support that belief is important or not, is not crystal clear to me. So I feel like today I live on this spaceship with people that believe stuff. And oh, by the way, this first category, where you can collect data and verify whether your belief is true or not, is not perfect. In fact, you want to hear something ridiculous? I was asked a little over a year ago to be on this committee to write a report, and I was really intimidated by the other committee members, who I thought I still think they're all really brilliant. So I set about trying to make myself less dumb, and I listened to this book called How Not to Be Wrong. And it was an entire book of all the different ways that I am regularly misled. And then I recently listened to a book on, it's called, I'll share this title, Think Again. I think the author's Adam Grant. Does that sound right? Anybody listen to that? The idea is if you have the ability to take something you believe and think more about it, collect new data, and then adjust your belief based on new things you learn, then your opportunities are endless. And if you're stuck in a mode where you believe something and you have no way to adjust on that, then your opportunities for growth are limited. All right. Now, is that enough advice? I saw folks yawning, so I'm going to take that as a clue. All right, who had the question? Yes. Can you shout it out, and then I'll try to repeat it. If I forget to repeat it, remind me. In one of the photos, there wasn't any stars. It is exposure time. So if you take a picture while what's that called? The shutter is open, it's letting light in. And if you leave that shutter open for a long time, the camera, the sensors will collect more and more light. And since stars aren't super bright, you got to leave the shutter open for a long time. I'll show you some other pictures where if you're on the space station, you leave the shutter open for a long time, you're moving. So then they're going to end up with these light streaks on the camera. It's only a camera exposure thing. No other trickery. So, that's good. Let me get to where I've been in space. I haven't been to the moon. I haven't been very, very far away from Earth at all. But yeah, you can absolutely see the stars. If you're on orbit and you look into the sky in the daytime, it's black. And if you look into the sky at night, it's like, so in Houston, we get a lot more humidity in general than y'all do. So I bet on your best night sky here, you're already at some elevation, like cold, dry night. Your night sky looks pretty similar to the night sky I saw. All right, so this is, who here has heard from somebody that's flown in space before? 2, 3, who did you hear from? Perfect. Who else? Yes. Who did you hear from? Oh, very cool. Was he happy and nice, or was he grumpy? All right, excellent. I've seen him both. I've seen him both. Haven't we all? Or we've been there. So a lot of folks that fly in space talk about sunrises and sunsets. If you fly on the space shuttle or go to the space station, you go around the Earth, all the way around the Earth in about an hour and a half. So every 90 minutes, if you're near the window, you're above the weather, so you see them all. If you're near the window, in an hour and a half, you'd see a sunrise, a sunset, and then the sun would be coming up again. And they're all magical. This is one of my favorite sunrise pictures. But I got to believe that, and I was up early this morning, but I didn't see the sunrise here, that if you think back to the most beautiful sunrise or sunset you've seen, right, it's prettier than this picture. Is that true for anyone? No. This is our sun, but it's not our planet. This is a rover on Mars pointing a camera to the horizon and taking a picture of a sunrise on Mars. So a few of you wanted to fly in space. So now the question is, who wants to go to Mars? Just a couple. It'd be a long, arduous trip. So this picture is Earth, and I don't know. I have to get close to see it, so my guess is you can't. Earth is up there in the night sky. So there's a rover on Mars pointing a camera into the night sky, leaving the shutter open long enough to collect enough reflective light from the Earth. This is what we look like. So I hope, and I realize my days are numbered, so we better hurry. I hope that we send humans to the surface of Mars and bring them back, because I want to talk to them. I have questions for them. I'm going to be sitting in the front and have my hand raised from the very beginning. Yes? Can I get some help from somebody, or can you shout it a little louder? Can somebody repeat that? Did they hear it, or is it? Come up here. Is that too much? That's intimidating to walk up here right in front of the group. I heard robots and space station, but I missed all the rest. I'm sorry. Everyone, somebody hear it? Okay, shout it out for me. How do you successfully land these rovers on Mars? Is that the question? Yeah, How do they know it would work? Yeah, they didn't. So I have heard about the challenges of landing rovers on Mars, but I've never done it, and I've never worked with that group. But it's really difficult, and it's not always successful. So we've done several where I say we, like people from Earth, we, the big we, where they weren't successful. Well, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to come up closer, or wait, we're getting help. Okay, try one more time. Okay, be thinking of your own question while working on this. Go ahead. Okay, good. Make shapes. So the rovers on Mars are being commanded from Earth, and then they're driving around studying Mars. So a lot of geology, drilling into the soil, collecting samples. They have some instrumentation on there where they can analyze those samples. But we're still trying to learn basics about being at Mars. And then the next question was, I said I go around the space shuttle. Space station goes around the Earth every hour and a half. And then the question was, how fast is that? And I'm like, okay, so it's fast. It's a little bit difficult to describe. So I'll do three chances, right? All the way around the Earth in an hour and a half is one. The second one is 17,500 miles an hour. But like the speedometer on my pickup truck doesn't even go 1,000. So I don't even know what that means, right? The other one is 25 times the speed of sound. So if you see a lightning flash and count 5 potatoes or Mississippis or whatever you count, and then hear the thunder, that lightning strike was 1 mile away. So it takes sound 5 seconds to travel 1 mile. And we go 25 times that speed, so every 1 second, we go 5 miles. So really, really fast.
So we have a few questions that have come in advance that I'm going to ask you. So the first question is, what's the most surprising thing you've learned about space or yourself while you were on your space missions?
So the most surprising thing is, a bunch of surprising things, but I'll share one. The reason that there are many surprising things is your instructors, everybody, they know the book backwards and forwards, but they've never flown in space. So there's certain things that just don't show up in the textbook. My first mission, one of my jobs was to get the spacewalkers dressed, get all their tools configured, and send them out on their spacewalk. And when they were done, I was bringing them back in through the airlock. When I opened up the hatch to bring them in, there was this really strong smell. And it didn't linger. The filtration system on the space station is pretty good. So it's gone in just a moment or two. But this really strong smell. So the most surprising thing, at least that I'm willing to share in a big group, is space smells. I have some guesses of what caused the smell, but I'm not really positive. And if we can get help from the teachers to pick out folks that may or may not have questions, that'd be good too. Looks like there's one there in the middle. We'll go here and then there. Oh, we lost him. Let's go here. This is a good one. The hardest thing that you got to do to train to go fly. And I don't remember. You didn't raise your hand when I said, do you want to fly in space, did you? No. It turns out that there's nothing outside of your capability, right? You are completely capable if you want to spend the time and effort to learn all these different things. I have no doubt you could do all these tasks. The challenging part is there's a lot of material, so you're never going to be done learning new things. And then every individual takes to things quicker than others. So the flying the space shuttle part, since I flew airplanes for the Navy before I got to NASA, seemed easier for me as I watched my classmates learn that part. They seemed to struggle. The hardest part for me was the language training. So NASA was trying to teach me Russian. And I really struggled with learning a foreign language. I'm still working on this one. I asked one guy teasing me about this recently. I asked to be judged on a curve, right? It's like, how could you expect me to know Russian better than I know English? So I'm like, you should grade me on a curve of I don't know English that well, but so my Russian doesn't sound as bad if you compare it to that.
Next question is, what does it feel like to be in space with zero gravity?
Yeah, I'll show you a video about this, but it's easier for me to imagine. I got to believe it's almost impossible for you to imagine if you haven't flown in space yet. But with the lightest touch, like a fingertip or the lightest touch with your toes, you can fly all the way across the room. And it is ridiculously fun. And you come back to Earth after your mission, and now you can no longer float and fly. And gravity is such a drag. I don't know why we continue to live this way. We should do something about it. Oh, I like this one. This is good for y'all, right? You guys are probably just deciding now of all the different things you could spend your time and energy doing after school. Pay's got to be somewhere on the list as you're racking and stacking these opportunities. And I wish I lived in a world where teachers, high school teachers, went to the equivalent of like the NFL combines, and then we had a big high school teacher draft for the very best high school teachers, and then we all read about these $1 million contracts they were signing, but we don't live in that world yet. But if you work at NASA, it's a government job, so it's military or U.S. government, and those pay scales are online. So your regular pay, you can just go online and look up. It's the exact same for the civil servants, the government workers, or the military. Not the exact same as each other, but they have their own pay scales. But you get extra money for flying in space. That's good, right? Do you have a guess? Anybody have a guess at how much extra money you get? Wow, somebody already knows the answer. So you are on government travel, and I guess inflation has kicked in since I flew, but I got an extra $1.90 a day for flying in space, only because it's like government travel.
Well, we talked about the pay a little bit, but what steps did you have to take to become an astronaut? And how did you train to be an astronaut? How did you get to where you are?
Okay, so for those of you that like genuinely want to like work for NASA and fly in space, I think your training began in kindergarten. Like the most important things, you've probably heard this, the most important things you'll learn in life are the things you learn in kindergarten. Unfortunately, of the 8 billion of us that live on Earth together, I think a vast majority need like a kindergarten refresher class. Like maybe kindergarten for adults might be a good place for us to start, so we'd start behaving better. But it's really, imagine you're a group of folks. Oh, the other half of this question was, how long to Mars? You should think something like a 3-year round trip. So 6 to 9 months to get there. You got to wait for the planets to show back up on the same side of the sun together, and then 6 or 9 months to go back. So not exactly 3 years, but roughly 3 years. Imagine you're a group of 4, 5, 6 people, and you're going to be gone for 6 years. Somebody on your team has to know everything, right? And you need somebody else to like back them up. So imagine you get a bad toothache, and you got to get some dentistry work done. One of the 6 of you has to be trained to be the dentist. And guess what? If it's that person that got the toothache, then somebody else has to have some basic dentistry to help out the person that you decided was going to be the crew dentist. So you could spend your whole life learning new and different things. One more time. Okay, re-entry. So real quick, I flew on a space shuttle to the space station. If the Earth was the size of a basketball, the space station's like the eraser on the end of a pencil up off this. So I have not been very far away. Launch is like super exciting. It's about 8.5 minutes of going faster and faster. Re-entry takes about an hour, and for the most part, it's really boring. Right up until the point where it gets like busy and exciting. But we flew, each of my missions landed in Florida. We flew from Australia to Florida in about an hour, which if you've flown to Australia commercially, trust me, it takes a lot longer. My first mission went through peak heating in the daytime, and you could look out the window and tell it was hostile, but it wasn't visually dramatic. My second mission went through peak heating at night, and the orange of my spacesuit, and I'll show you a video clip. It only shows up for a second, but Bueno's taken a video clip. The orange of my shoulder and the orange out my window are the same color. You fly back basically on the inside of a fireball. It makes you want to scoot closer to the middle. Not that that would do anything for you, but it's pretty awesome. All right, where do we go? Yes. Right behind. Right. Yeah. So do I know about the current comet this month that's visible in the early evenings? Only like the little bit I've read in the press. Has anybody seen it yet? I think it gets to the point, there's a chance it gets to the point where you can see it with the naked eye from what I read, but binoculars should be good, but I haven't gone out to look. The farthest distance, right? Just a couple hundred miles high. So not very far away at all. Not very far. But I'm going to show you some views of what you can see from Earth from just a couple hundred miles high. And for most of us, it changes our perspective of what it means to be on the same spaceship together. How many stars are? A lot. A lot of stars are in space. A lot. You should look up all the different answers you can find on the internet, because we're still trying to figure that out. Way more than you could count. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we'll go in this triangle. You go first, and then we'll go around and back. Okay, quiet down so I can hear. Shout it out, or somebody repeat it for me. How was the food? Right? Did I get it right? I, for whatever reason, was really hungry the whole time I was on orbit. And the doc told me most folks lose weight on their missions. I actually gained weight. And you know how when you're really hungry, everything just tastes better? So for me, the food was great, but I was always really hungry. So I was like really excited to eat. I was eating the whole time. But I wasn't super discerning, right? When you're super hungry, you're less discerning. No, not anymore. There's a bunch of other ways, right? You could be a football player turned TV personality. You could be a TV movie person. You could be a singer. There's a bunch of other ways today. Did I ever want to do something else before joining the Navy? That's a great question. Yes, but I was I didn't have something specific. I wanted to fly in space pretty much for as long as I can remember. I never wanted to go into the military. I never wanted to fly airplanes. I only went into the Navy as a way to pay for college. I knew I really wanted to go to college, and of course it's expensive, so I was looking for a way to pay for college. And I'm mostly afraid of heights, so flying airplanes didn't seem like something really I should be thinking about doing. But since the Navy paid for college, I had to do something in the Navy. And when I was in college, like being a naval aviator and flying fighter aircraft for the Navy was like really cool. And like I'm not opposed to appearing cool, so that was kind of how I ended up there. What do you think? Do you remember? Do you remember when I started off with this advice? Let me try one more time. Y'all need to think critically about all the. Where's my editor? Who's going to? Is BS okay to say or not? You need to think critically about all the BS you're hearing and reading. The world is full of it, and there's all kinds of people trying to mislead you. And stop believing it and start thinking for yourself. Nobody's been to Pluto. All right, good. So now I'm going to show you a handful more pictures about space. Yep. I worked on Artemis a little bit while I was still at NASA. And then after I left NASA, I worked in industry for a little while. And so I worked on Artemis, Gateway just a little bit. I actually had a job for about 3 years where I was trying to get the Artemis II Orion spacecraft built and delivered to NASA, which is now stacked. I even wore my Orion long sleeve T-shirt. I don't get to wear long sleeve T-shirts very much in Houston, so I break them out when I come visit y'all. But yeah, I worked on Orion for a little while. So Artemis is NASA's current exploration program with the goal of getting humans back to the moon. Nobody has been to the moon in your lifetime. Maybe me and some of the other teachers excluded. But nobody's been to the moon in your lifetime. And nobody in human history has been any farther away than the moon. And the Artemis program, NASA's current exploration program, is trying to get humans back to the moon. Artemis 2 is going to fly early next year. I think they're targeting like early February right now. We'll see how they're doing. And they'll send 4 folks back to the moon. They won't land this time. They'll just go around the moon, but they'll get to see it up close. That'll be the first time it's ever happened in your lifetime.
And we heard in the introduction a little bit about some of your previous missions. What does it mean to be a pilot for a space shuttle, and what did you get to accomplish on your missions?
Okay, so I don't know if this was highlighted in the intro, or I got to be honest, I wasn't completely listening to my bio, but I flew as the space shuttle pilot for 2 space shuttle missions. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover. But you might not have heard the phrase, don't judge a job by its job title. I thought space shuttle pilot was like the coolest job title ever. But there's a commander. And the space shuttle commander's in charge. And they do basically anything that's super cool. I was trained to do everything the commander was trained to do in case something happened to him. But they're all great, terrific, almost perfect people, so nothing ever happens. So then I made dinner for the spacewalkers. I took care of the trash, and then I cleaned the toilet. So that's the primary jobs of a space shuttle pilot. Who was talking about what'd you do to train to go to space? Yeah, I practiced cleaning the toilet. You got to learn everything. Yeah, like why did I stay on this path? I grew up in circumstances that I wasn't a fan of. Like we weren't well off, to put it mildly, and it's not any fun being poor. I don't know if anybody's told you that before, but like if you get to choose, like don't choose that. And so I was like, that's why I really wanted to go to university, because I was led to believe if you go to university, you got opportunities to get other jobs and live better. And so that's kind of started me on the path. And then I'm really curious, and I got a lot to learn. But I also believe we as humans still have a lot to learn. And I'm pretty simple-minded, so one of the ways I think of learning new stuff is go and trying it. And when I was young, they were sending folks to the moon. That was, of course, quite a while ago. And the beginnings of flying people in outer space to try to learn stuff about places we hadn't been before. It turns out there's still a lot of things that humans have to learn. And so if you're interested in making humans smarter, there's plenty of opportunities to do that. Where we go? Can I get some help from the teachers? I'm worried I'm like picking the same students. So if you could like call out people. Thank you. Thanks for the help. Okay, shout it out. You're way back there. Yeah, so my mission, so it was the recovery of coming back. My missions were what NASA calls short duration, like less than 2 weeks. And the recovery is very different than most of the expedition crew members that go to the space station. Most of them spend 6 months. And a few have done the double, so have stayed basically a year. And so them coming back and adjusting to life on Earth is a whole lot more significant than 2 weeks. And oh, by the way, everybody's different. So I'll share one of my things from my first mission. I'll share 2 things. Right, one. You guys are high school, so I better only share one. On mine, but this isn't how you're going to feel when you go fly, right? This isn't a guarantee. So I came back from my first mission. We land in Florida, we spend the night, and then we go to Houston the next day. And me and one of my crewmates, Ricky, would regularly go for a run together. We're slow, so if you drove by us, you might not think we're running, but we're also chatting and complaining about everything and solving the world's problems. So we went out for our regular run when we got back, and I don't really stretch. I never have really stretched. And the next day, like, my calves were really sore. So if you do 2 weeks in space and then you want to go for a run, you probably ought to stretch a little bit. On my second mission, I waited a full another day, and I stretched. So little stuff. But 2 weeks, nothing significant. One more question? Okay. How much time do we have? 7 minutes. All right. So I'm going to flip through this. Put your hands down for just a second. I'm going to flip through these pictures of Earth, and then I'm going to show you a video with a soundtrack. So I'll stop talking. It's about 3 minutes. See, there you can see some stars, but you got to be good with the camera. This is what happens if you don't track the camera and just collect the light over time. All right, so this video has a soundtrack. It's one song. It's Views of Earth. This is my favorite planet. I'll be back. 3 minutes. I'll be right back. Check this out.
Lifted scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone. Narrow streets of cobblestone, with the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light, it split my night and touch the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw
All right, what'd y'all think of that? All right, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. I'm going to show you a video. So 2 things that I remember from space is Earth is really beautiful. We're really lucky to get to live on such a beautiful planet. And the other one that I mentioned briefly, and I said I'd show you a video, being able to float and fly is like ridiculously fun. So this is us having fun while we're weightless. In between the laughs, I'll try to repeat some of my opening remarks, which is thanks to the Space Foundation for bringing Space in the Community event to Colorado Springs. Don't try this at home. We're trying to build an aquarium.
And this bell is going to be ringing in just a minute. Let's give Mr. Antonelli a big round of applause for being here today.
Thank you. Hey, y'all have been super, especially first thing on a Monday morning after a long week. But if you'll do me one favor today and this week is to thank your teachers for all they do to try to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Okay, students, please remain seated. Students, please remain seated. Students, please remain seated.